Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. Rare add to one of our old series as we have a new episode of Superstars of Wrestling from the month of November 1987. Rare because we don't get that many ads of these days, and we are kind of moving forward into November 14th, 1987. The owner of the organizational placement is here. He is kind of phrasing the WWF as easy to work with. The owner of the organization or the venue that they're using is doing that. And I mean, I guess that's a good sign, right? If they are labeled as easy to work with, I guess that's a good sign. Anyway, Vince McMahon, Jesse Ventura, and Bruno Sammartino. Bruno still on good terms for a few more months, I think, with the WWF. I think maybe he ends at the end of it, the year of '87, but very early '88 at the latest. But anyway, notable things here on this particular episode. We are a couple of weeks away from the Survivor Series. Bam Bam Bigelow, who is in the main event Survivor Series team, or on the main event Survivor Series team, is featured here. He's in a enhancement match. Sir Oliver Humperdinck is his manager. Gino Carabello is the opponent for Mr. Bigelow, and Bigelow here, he's not here for too terribly long, less than maybe a year and a half. I think he leaves right after WrestleMania 4. I think he came in the summer of '87, so not here for a great deal of time. Backdrop by Bigelow, though, sends his opponent up into the lights. Bigelow, probably one of the better big men of his age and time, didn't have the experience to handle the match, as it were. Big vertical suplex after a backdrop by Bigelow. Bigelow off the ropes, hits the headbutt, and is pretty dominant here. I don't know what the original plan was for him, but I can imagine that he was going to be there for a while originally. I mean, you wouldn't bring a guy in and put as much heat behind him as they did. He does the cartwheel kick and gets a victory in the end, which is kind of cool. And needless to say, then we go to an interview with the Survivor Series team that's going to face Hulk Hogan's team, the One Man Gang. Rick Rude, Natural Butcher Reed, I believe, is here, Andre the Giant, and they stretch out a Hulk Hogan Bendham doll to maximum benefit. Bobby Heenan says if you put one hand here and one hand there, and a hand on an arm and a hand on a leg, where do you end up? You end up with a completely stretched out Hulk Hogan. And the inference is that Hogan couldn't handle Andre or his team here in 1987. Of course, this is the original Survivor Series, back when Survivor Series actually mattered as a pay-per-view. I'd say it's probably been, I don't know, maybe 15 years, maybe longer, but at least 15 since the Survivor Series has really mattered as a major component. But back here in 1987, it certainly does. Music video for Brutus Beefcake up next. They are certainly pushing the barber thing that he runs with for quite a while. Of course, he just become the barber at WrestleMania 3 back in March. So less than March to November, 6, 7, something like that. 8 months behind the gimmick, so still trying to push it. He doesn't really hit his stride. Volkov and Zukov, otherwise known as the Bolsheviks, with Slick out next in a squash match. They are treated like a big deal. Still issues between Russia and the United States going back for decades by this point. A big deal. Mario Mancini and Jerry Allen are their opponents for the day. Super basic match. Neither Volkov nor Zukov terribly mobile at the time. They do the Russian national anthem singing, which rather infuriates a benefit of, you know, anything there. Anyway, kind of some kicks and punches by Zukov, forearms across the back and the like. Nothing major. He does hit a spin kick, which looks kind of awkward, but at his size, also kind of intense. Long way for him from his Mid-South days when he was far more athletic. Zukov finally comes in a couple of minutes in with a flying headbutt and a 3 count. Zukov gets the victory. one of the few victories that the Bolsheviks get on television. They really quickly, within less than a year, become the kind of jobber to the stars team and kind of go up and down. There's a local area Boston Garden show on the 12th of December, which is going to encompass Jimmy Hart being hung over the ring. Uh, 15 feet in the air or something like that. Honky Tonk Man and Randy Savage are doing combat over the Intercontinental titles. Jimmy Hart is nervous about his newfound heighted fate, and so kind of goes forward there. Savage by this point has turned babyface, I would say, yeah, because obviously leading a babyface team into Survivor Series. So, but only a couple of months at most off of that. They do a recap on from November 7th, so the last week of the switch of the tag team championships to Strike Force. Of course, Strike Force, the team of Tito Santana and Rick Martel, originally faded for Tom Zink and Rick Martel, the Can-Am Connection, before Zink chooses to leave the World Wrestling Federation rather abruptly just a few months before. Zink never returns to the area in the way that many people thought he might or would, and never really gets there. Carmen Surface is up next against Paul Orndorff. Orndorff pretty well finishing up. I think he finishes up right around Survivor Series, maybe a month or so later. I don't know that he goes into 1988. Orndorff, very basic offense. You can see the muscular atrophy that causes him to be out of action for an extended period of time. Punch, kick, drops the knee in, some really basic stuff. Orndorff tries to do everything he can to gain things going in his direction. Irish whip, and some basic stuff, back elbows by Orndorff. Orndorff there manages to kick under the chin and get right after his opponent before hitting him with a pile driver, which shouldn't be a big surprise because, well, hey, pile driver is Orndorff's move, has been since his run in 84? I think he began in 84, definitely through 85. So he'd been here a while, and the pile driver had been his deal the whole time. But you can even see he lands that a little differently. Some talk of the tag team, the elimination style tag team. Jimmy Hart, Danny Davis, the Honky Tonk Man, Ron Bass swinging his bull whip. That doesn't make Gene Okerlund very happy. Okerlund really trying to do his best to sell the nature of the dangerous aspect to the bull whip, and also trying to sell the Survivor Series as a concept. We are 12 days away from the Survivor Series, the initial Survivor Series there on the air date of this particular program. Danny Davis and Sam Houston hype a future match. Davis says that Houston's gotten lucky. I believe this is the television debut, if not very, very close to it within a matter of weeks, of the Ultimate Warrior facing off against Steve Lombardi. I think I saw this as the first match. Maybe not, though, because Terry Gibbs, I thought, was Warrior's first match. So certainly a couple of months into the Warriors' run at most here. Steve Lombardi, of course, the Brooklyn Brawler, and Warrior clunking around as he often did. He actually does hit a leapfrog, which is a bit surprising. Does a kind of bypass and then a back elbow. Warrior goes to the floor, tries to get pretty aggressive with the Brawler. Brawler chases him around, chases him back in. Warrior cuts a inset Warrior promo. So what that translates to is not a lot of value there. Warrior with a military press slam gets the victory, as he does so many other times. Flying shoulder tackle and the like. Probably one of the biggest angles of all time up next, as the $1 Million Man comes out and says everybody has a price, and he wants to prove that. Brings out a African American young man somewhere between the ages of about 6 to 9 years old, maybe, and invites him to bounce a basketball 10 times for several $100s. DiBiase kicks the basketball away, and ultimately the young man doesn't get the money. He actually starts to cry on television, and cements him as a heel. There is a pre-airing promo of the Demolition Action Smash. At this point, Randy Cully is out of Demolition. Smash has replaced, so pretty quick, and Mr. Fuji has been placed with them. And there is the music video of the Demolition theme song. Vince McMahon lets us know that, in fact, there are 8 total music videos from the Piledriver 2 album. Wasn't around as a fan for this time period, came around after that. But what was interesting was in the before live event things, they would play music from Piledriver for years, probably at least 2 years when I went to live events. Don Muraco against Dave Wagner. Muraco actually catches him with a bear hug that leads to almost a spine buster. Some elbow drops, really basic stuff. Muraco babyface here. This is, well, by the end of the show I'll explain why, but this is a notable time. Muraco gets a victory pretty quickly, but, he kind of does the inverted tombstone pile driver here, shoulder breaker, tombstone pile driver. Doesn't look anything like Undertaker's for sure. Fans are hyped for the Survivor Series and the kind of relook between Hogan and the Andre the Giant saga. Then we go to our main event for the day, and that is Natural Butch Reed against Superstar Billy Graham. Reed jumps him from the beginning, completely takes him down. Superstar gets virtually no offense, gets beat up from the beginning, choked out with his own t-shirt, tie-dye, and the whole deal. And several shots, kicks, and stays on the leg the entire time. The hip flexor surgery that comes, or that had already happened. Superstar was not able to wrestle full time. One Man Gang in an inset promo says he wants to get rid of Graham. Eventually, he comes in to interfere and help after Slick gets attacked or Slick tries to interfere and then gets held to the fire by Superstar Billy Graham. Needless to say, use of weaponry and some double teaming is to follow. Billy Graham put out of action by Butch Reed and the One Man Gang, and so that is the, I believe, final ever match for Billy Graham. I don't know that he ever wrestled anywhere else. I don't think he went to Japan or anything like that. So, historic edition of the Superstars of Wrestling here on the retirement, for lack of a better term, of Superstar Billy Graham. Randy Savage does an inset promo, says he's going to get the Intercontinental title back. To think that Savage is only a month or two behind the all-time ranking for Intercontinental Champion, still held by the Honky Tonk Man, is kind of interesting. I think that's an understated thing. I think there's only like a month, maybe 2 months at most difference between them. But anyway, that kind of closes that out. Hopefully we'll be back with more. We'll be back with SmackDown tonight, and certainly I'd rather watch Superstars than SmackDown any day of the week because, well, the current WWE product is mostly direct. But we'll be back with more right after this. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.